I lived most of my life with no boundaries. There were not a lot of boundaries in the house in which I grew up, which kind of was, we love you, we respect your opinion, is kind of where that started. And it's certainly not like the children ran the house, but there was a loose sense of boundary. And I made sure, like as parents, we either try to embrace the beautiful things that our parents give us and like send back, say thank you, but no thank you, to the things that we think didn't work. And that lack of boundary for me was a big deal. Had to do with my core safety somehow. That's what it tied into. So my kid had like ironclad boundaries. Like they were completely, he knew exactly what they were. They were easily defined, and I upheld them. The lessons that I learned, most of the lessons that we learn in our childhood are the things that stick with us. So throughout my married life, throughout my relationships post-marriage, there was a lack of emotional boundary. My goal was to enmesh with the other person because I thought that that meant joining souls and being a loving partner. And that's what I craved because that's what was demonstrated to me. And if you didn't enmesh with me, if you stayed your own person or tried to create a boundary, I felt rejected. And of course, at that time, I couldn't deal with anger either. So I would just passive aggressively fume. And when asked what's wrong, I'd be like, nothing, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Fucked up way to be. So the lesson that I have just been through, that month, my whole life plus building to a month of reclamation of certain parts of myself were all about defining myself and defining myself in my relationships, my family, my loved ones, my intimate relationship. It needed to be redefined because I find as my love for myself becomes genuine, because I am absolutely an advocator of fake it till you make it. But as my love for myself and my self-respect grows, my desire for clean and healthy boundaries of what's mine, what's yours, and what we're bringing to union. And there are things within the union that exist uniquely only in the union. They're not yours or his. They are the union's. But those things need to be defined, because when those edges are messy, I will lose myself. I won't speak for everyone, but I will lose myself because I have to work to maintain a clean boundary. It's completely worth it. And I'm training myself to have it be second nature. But until now, I thought that almost abdicating myself to join in a partnership meant love. I really did. I thought that the union needed to be more important than the individuals. And now I see that the union will be so severely limited by that because there is no end to the capacity of the individual. There is always room for expansion, growth, knowledge. And if you have a partner that shares that kind of attitude, then you're really in for a dynamic ride. If you define yourself only by the parameters of the relationship, that's not as elastic, because once you created that definition and then you ignore your own growth, how does the relationship grow? Because that's exactly what I did in my marriage. I created a mythology around what worked for us, and I stuck to that mythology even when we were different people. And it didn't suit either of us by the end. So what I ask you today is, where is your sense of personal boundary? Where does it come up for you? Does it come up in the way that you provide it for your children? Does it come up in the way that you provide it within your relationship? And where does the buck stop within yourself? Where are the lines that you won't cross? And where are the lines that you defend? Where you're like, this is mine, don't come in here. Because there has to be a place for that in any kind of relationship. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say about that, and I will see you tomorrow.